Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be changing my reef tank water and giving it a pretty thorough clean because as you can see it's got quite a lot of nastiness built up on it. I've got to get the frag stand out of there because I let my Duncans die, and just overall I've really neglected this tank, and unfortunately I've been putting more care and effort into getting my ADA tank kind of back up to how I like it, and I just completely neglected this one. And that's kind of the battle when you have multiple tanks. It just becomes hard to take care of them. And yeah, that's not an excuse. I really shouldn't be doing that, but that's just the nature of the beast. And here we are. So it's time to fix it. And as you can see, the water's a little foggy. There is some algae on the glass. Probably not going to be able to do too much about that because it's pretty well on there. Just going to try to keep the water changes, and I'm going to have to look up something for some kind of razor to do that because it's not the same kind of algae that you get on a freshwater tank. That's way more manageable. And if you have lots of plants, you don't really have to worry about algae at all, especially if you understock your tank like this one is and you have lots of snails. I do have my turbo snails in here still, but and I have a sea urchin still, tuxedo urchin. And I've got some hermit crabs and stuff, but the only coral I have in here is Anthelia now. So anyway, the only thing I've changed since the last time I made a video on this is I did get a new light. This is what is this? This is a Fluval light. I'll put a link in the description. It's fully programmable with the app. So right now it's actually on probably about the brightest setting, and then it'll kind of turn purpley blue, more of a purpley blue here in a little bit. But I've got it on a program that someone had recommended on the forums that will keep your algae down. So that's kind of the goal. I only have 2 fish in here, just like I have, since the beginning. I've got my clownfish Irwin, and then I have a rural dotty bag somewhere in there. He likes to hide out in the rock work. Yeah, so let's get to it. Sorry, I just realized I said I had 2 turbo snails. I actually only have 1 now. One of them actually crawled out and died. So kind of unfortunate. Anyway, they're not super big turbo snails. I know they can get pretty large, but actually let me see if I can find one. Yeah, you can see one right there. So they're still pretty small right now. If they get too big, obviously I'll go exchange them or something. I'll say the one. Also, I want to mention something. If you're thinking about buying one of these tanks, I don't know if you can see it right there, but that algae is blocking the vents. So if you let algae block your vents on this, there's still the channel down below. If you didn't plug it, your water will back up or even overflow, especially if you have an ATO that tops off your water for you. So you have to be really careful. And I mean, that could probably happen on any tank, right? The other day I came in here and that was blocked off with algae completely, and the water levels in this, were way down, which also is dangerous for your heater. So anyway, just something to note. Also, since I got rid of the top on this, I have to top it off with water like every day or every other day with fresh rhodey. So I've got that sitting down there. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the water we've got mixed up. Alright, so I've got my new water here, which it's actually closer to 1.025. I emptied a little bit out, so it's not reading exact, but that's okay. I can always dilute it down with some more rhodey there that I have in that bucket. So what we're gonna do now is I've got my new bucket here. I've got an empty bucket here with my hose that I used to drain it out, so I'll start the siphon with that and then kind of go around the tank. And after that, I'll probably just look for any other debris or anything in there, and then we'll get to cleaning the edges. Now I'm kind of pinching this so it doesn't go too crazy. Get up some of this algae on here. I am getting some rocks in there. Now, I'm gonna stop for a second because I actually need to unplug the pump and the heater. And this smells absolutely awful. I guess it's okay. We don't really need the light right now anyway. Don't make me do this again. We're going to do like a 30 to 40% water change. Since I do only have 5 gallons made up right now, I'll go ahead and remove this. My poor Duncan, rest in peace. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through, try to knock some of this stuff off. So all this I'm going to pick up all of this excess salt. I'm going to come back and clean off. Alright, so I made the call to go ahead and remove the top Marco rock and get rid of the Enthalia. I just found it too difficult to be able to actually, like, I don't know, manage, because you get one little piece off and it just takes over everything, and it makes it really difficult if you want any other kind of coral or anything. So I don't really recommend that one unless it's the only coral you want. It's pretty much impossible to kill. I mean, neglected this tank obviously, and it still was thriving. So I know it's pretty ugly in there right now, and I'll figure out something in the future. I've got some sea chem glue. If you're looking to glue your rocks together, this is the stuff to use. I'll link this in the description as well in case you're looking to do that, but you can already see the water looks much better. And I've just got to go through now and kind of clean up the edges and clean off this glass. It's all foggy and nasty looking, but much better than before. We'll test the salinity here in a little bit and make sure that's all good. Erwin looks pretty happy. He's doing his thing. He likes to play in the flow. And do a quick laser check real quick. 78, 79. Okay. So that's really perfect, which is good. You don't want to be mixing your water temperatures too different, or you can shock your fish. Sorry guys, I am still pretty sick right now. So the next thing we're going to do real quick is I'm going to go ahead and retest the salinity. Now it's only been stirring up in here for like a minute, but just want to make sure it's not anything too crazy. Drain it just a little bit. Okay. Tap it down to get all the bubbles out. Look at that, almost right on the money. So we'll take that, and hopefully it stays there. Our little buddy here should be much happier. So sorry I let it get like this, but alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to kind of clean this glass a little bit, see if that helps at all. We are far from perfect here, but I have to say it looks a lot better than it did when we started, and it's cleaned up for the most part. The algae's not gonna disappear overnight that's on the glass, but regardless, the tank is much cleaner now. I did go ahead and dunk the filtration of the filter floss into the old water and kind of give that a good rinse. Erwin's trying to figure out what the heck is going on with his new setup here. Got a lot more room to swim around on his own. My dotty back likes to hide on the rock work, so probably won't see him. He usually doesn't come out till nighttime, and actually even when we moved, he stayed in the rock when I lifted it out, so anytime there's any disturbance, he just hides out in there. But we're now a far cry from where we started. Got the light cleaned off as well. Yeah, it's not perfect. Probably one of the uglier reef tanks you'll see on YouTube. But it's been going strong now since, what, 2021? And yeah, haven't lost anything but my corals, unfortunately. And it's probably going to be a minute before I get back into getting corals. I really need to get this thing in tip-top condition before I try to do that again. And I'm going to stay away from the Anthilia. Might look into just doing GSB just because it's kind of easier to see. It doesn't like block out your view of everything, but we'll see. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, sorry that this tank looks so terrible right now, but this is the reality of reef keeping. It is very messy and very time consuming. Yeah, that's what I got myself into, but here we are now, you know, several years later, and sometimes it just gets like this. It's not something I'm proud of, but you know, we've all probably been there. So, see you guys later.